Good evening and thanks for joining us. This is your forecast first. Well, thanks for joining the Be Our Proud Weather Center for the very latest on the tropics. And as of the 10 p.m. advisory, we've seen that Delta has got a little bit stronger out there. Here's what's going on. As you take a look big picture out there, we're starting to see a lot more convection. That's thunderstorm activity around the center of this system. A Category 1 storm right now with winds up to 80 miles per hour. If you can kind of watch the past track there a little bit, you can see over the day it kind of walked a little bit to the southwest, but now starting to move back towards the northwest at about 7 miles per hour. Still a pretty small system in size, but it is gaining strength quickly out there, and most likely it'll even be a Category 2 storm as we head into tomorrow. So here's what we've got going on right now. This is the current forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. Category 3 potentially late tomorrow, early on Wednesday, and that means a major hurricane out there with winds up to 120 miles per hour. The track has shifted a little bit to the west right now, a little bit closer to the Yucatan Peninsula near Cancun as a Category 3 storm. You can see they've issued hurricane warnings for the area, even on the other side of Cuba. Category 3 storm making its way into the Gulf of Mexico, and then it starts to make that northern turn. Now, luckily for us, there are some variables near the coastline that help us out just a little bit. So it should start to weaken a little bit as it moves its way inland. One being some cooler waters out there. Thank you, cold fronts, because it's making it a little bit cool and some dry, stable air for the time being. Plus, we're going to see a little bit more wind shear ahead of this system as it moves in. So it should start to weaken. However, again, with it being a Category 3 storm, it's going to take a little bit of time for the system to fall apart as it moves inland. You can also see right now we've got gusts up to 100 miles per hour. But watch, Category 3 pretty close to landfall. Probably a strong Category 2 at this point with winds around 100 miles per hour, maybe low to mid 90s as it makes landfall. Current track puts it between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Got to remember the northeastern quadrant is usually the stronger side of the system as it moves through. And then you can see it kind of driving through the state as at least a hurricane, and then should finally weaken a little bit further north. Now again, that cone doesn't tell you the impacts. What it does tell you is how far the track is going to shift east or west a little bit. So there still is a little bit of wiggle room. It could go further west, increasing our impacts. It could go further east, and let's hope for that scenario. If that's the case, then our impacts will be a little bit on the lower end of the scale. However, that could be a concern again for the Gulf shores, and we're talking potentially as far east again as, you know, Pensacola, the same areas that have been hit really hard out there with the last system. Now watch the current track out there. You can see overall, again, right now a lot of consistency, which is also somewhat odd this far out. You're still talking quite a few days away before even making landfall, but all models are starting to really agree that this system is going to kind of stay together at this point as it drives its way northbound and to the west. Now watch the current track here at this point. You'll see it starts to make more of a northwestern turn, finally going north as we make our way closer to the weekend. But you see, because of more of a westward track, we're talking maybe even after midnight, so early on Saturday landfall and just west of here. This is the European model. Think about all the heavy rainfall, stronger winds will be sitting directly across Acadiana and us here in the capital area. I'm going to show you another model. Good thing is also this system is moving at a steady pace. It's not going to stall out like past systems. This is not going to give you those astronomical amounts of 25 plus inches of rainfall. This is going to be more in the 3 to 6, potentially 10 in some locations. So again, localized. We just need to see where those feeder bands kind of set up, because that's really where you're going to see the substantial rainfall. As you see here with the American model, this one kind of puts it directly on top of us, and if we fall pretty much underneath the eye wall, that's where we could see hurricane force winds here. And the concern is not so much the rainfall. Yes, there is that chance for heavy rainfall at times, but the concern is going to be mainly hurricane force winds that could lead to widespread power outages. Again, if we get a sustained and prolonged wind over a day and a half, obviously, but then it races to the east and we get back to quieter conditions by the end of the weekend. And the likelihood for tropical storm force winds now at this point sitting pretty high, obviously, as we move forward. So you're seeing that, again, we're talking about 70, 80, even 90%, and along the coastline, definitely. I think even for the coast, Morgan City, New Iberia, Grand Isle, all those areas in between could have hurricane force winds and for multiple hours. Now, here's the story. Obviously, you can see all that dry air a little bit north of the system. That's what's bringing us the beautiful weather right now. It's also the reason that dry air and a ton of wind shear out there that rip Gamma apart. We don't have to worry about Gamma anymore. It's now post-tropical. And it's actually going to get absorbed by Delta, which is going to be barreling towards the northwest in the coming days. So here you go. We've got 2 to 3 estimates, 3 to 4, a little bit further east around New Orleans, even 4 to 5 sitting in southern Mississippi. But I do believe the estimates are going to start to inch back a little bit further west if that track continues in more of a westerly path. So again, just that could change a little bit. Just stay weather aware. You can see that the rain is really going to start to creep in probably late on Thursday and stick with us through much of Friday, even lasting until early Saturday, obviously. So again, we're going to see a beautiful day tomorrow. Conditions start to go downhill a little bit on Wednesday, and then look for more storms to kind of move in. Heavy rainfall, obviously, at times. So as you continue to keep an eye on the tropics, still a lot of season left ahead of us. Just want to give you that notice. We're well ahead of schedule for getting Delta, obviously. And you can see on the list, our next one would be Epsilon. So, yeah, it's been a busy year so far, and potentially we could have 9, and it looks like, well, the odds are high right now that we are going to have our 9th named storm make landfall this year. So, yeah, it's going to be a very busy week for us. Stay vigilant, stay prepared, obviously, and have a game plan and be ready to act just in case. Again, this kind of looks right now, even this far out, that some portion of Louisiana is going to get impacted by this system. Do we know exactly how bad is it going to get here in the capital area? Not exactly, but we do know we're going to get periods of heavy rainfall, definitely the chance for tropical storm force winds, and obviously even the chance for some hurricane force winds here. We're going to definitely see some coastal flooding, some storm surge, especially if we get to a major hurricane out there. That's going to be a pretty decent wall of water moving inland. Also, coastal flooding is also a concern because, again, a lot of that water is going to continue to get pushed inland. So Lake Marpah, if you have some property there, if you have some property around Lake Pontchartrain, if you have some property down in Grand Isle, somewhere in between, you might want to get down there early, get your boat in, take care of your dock, things like that, secure them, and also take care of your property if you have some property a little bit further south, say a camp or something like that. So anything really from Lafayette, the Atchafalaya Basin, eastward towards New Orleans, and even further east, you should be making plans already to kind of prepare yourself. And also, generator could be smart. Again, we could be seeing widespread power outages for at least a couple days if this storm rolls right over the top of us. We've got a lot of trees here, so it's something to be kind of aware of. So stay prepared. Make sure you're following trusted sources. That's key too, because again, a lot of stuff is getting thrown over social media. And also download our app. It's free. It's free, and it gives you the latest information with these storms. We'll be back on the air early tomorrow morning, so you can tune in to Ashley, and we'll have complete team coverage, obviously, in the coming days as we continue to move forward. Thanks for joining us this evening, and if you do have any questions or concerns, send me an email or drop me a line on Facebook. Thanks.